I always believed that family comes first. That's why, when my younger sister Nadia called me late one rainy evening, her voice cracking through the phone, I didn't hesitate for a second. "Come," I said. "Come stay with us. As long as you need." She didn't even tell me what had happened. I could hear it in her breath, the panic, the betrayal. 10 minutes later, she arrived soaked to the bone, with just one duffel bag and eyes that had cried too long. Her mascara had bled down her cheeks like war paint. I didn't ask questions. I just pulled her inside, wrapped her in a dry towel, and made her tea. "I messed everything up," she whispered, finally. "I gave him everything. And he slept with someone else. A friend." My chest clenched. Nadia always had a thing for choosing the wrong guys, but this time she seemed truly shattered. "You didn't mess up anything," I told her. "He did. And you don't have to go through this alone." At that moment, I felt proud of myself. I was being the big sister. The responsible one. The one who had her life together, a husband, a job, a 6-year-old son, Maxim, who made my world spin. But I had no idea how wrong I was. How much I was about to lose. How betrayal can walk through your door dressed as family. For the first week, everything seemed fine. Nadia was quiet, helpful even. She offered to cook meals, played with Maxim, and helped me fold laundry. She said she wanted to earn her keep. I didn't expect anything. I just wanted her to feel safe. Victor, my husband, barely reacted to her arrival. "She won't be here long," I told him. He just nodded. Sure. He'd become distant months ago. The long work hours, the forced smiles, the way he avoided eye contact during dinner. I blame stress. The economy. The new project at work. I made excuses because I wanted to believe our marriage was still solid. But it wasn't. And Nadia? She wasn't just passing through. She was slowly burrowing into our lives, into my space, into something that didn't belong to her. It began with the clothes. At first, she wore sweatpants and hoodies, normal. But by the second week, she was walking around the apartment in tight tank tops with no bra, short shorts that left nothing to the imagination. She'd lean over in front of Victor, pretending not to notice. I noticed. Then came the late-night chats. I'd wake up to get water at 1 a.m. and find them whispering in the kitchen. Once, she was sitting on the counter. He was standing between her knees. They laughed when they saw me. "Can't sleep?" Nadia asked with a smile that made my skin crawl. I wanted to believe I was being paranoid. That my broken, devastated sister wouldn't dare betray me like this. That my husband wasn't that cruel. So I tried to push the doubt down. But one afternoon, I found his shirt in the laundry, one I hadn't seen him wear in weeks, and it reeked of her perfume. Sweet. Floral. The one she always wore on dates. Still, I didn't say anything. I just buried myself deeper in chores and Maxim in pretending. Until I couldn't anymore. That night, Victor came home later than usual. I was waiting. "I need to talk to you," I said calmly. He looked at me, tired, annoyed. "Can it wait?" "I'm exhausted." "No," I said. "I know something's going on between you and Nadia." His eyes narrowed. "You're being ridiculous. Don't lie to me." Then came the silence. A pause. A shift in the air. He didn't deny it. "You've changed," he said quietly. "You're cold. You're always tired. We don't connect anymore." "And that justifies sleeping with my sister?" "She needed someone," he muttered. "She was vulnerable." I felt like the walls were collapsing in on me. I couldn't breathe. Later that night, I confronted Nadia. She didn't flinch either. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said, looking me straight in the eye. "But we fell in love." I wanted to scream, to slap her. But I didn't. I just stood there, numb. "My son eats dinner at this table," I said through clenched teeth. "My son plays in this living room. And you, both of you, have poisoned it." "You don't understand," she said. "You don't make him happy anymore." That was it. That night, I packed a single suitcase for myself and Maxim. I didn't tell them I was leaving. I didn't cry. I just walked out. Left the keys on the counter. Carried my sleeping son down the stairs with trembling arms. We went to my friend Oksana's place across town. I slept on her pull-out couch, and Maxim curled beside me, confused and half asleep. I didn't sleep a second. My mind raced all night. I had no home, no marriage. And my sister, the girl I used to read fairy tales to, had stolen everything from me. But the thing is, I wasn't done. They thought I was weak, that I'd vanish quietly. But that night, something inside me snapped into place. They took my love, my home, my trust. Now, I would take everything else. When I left that night, I didn't have a plan. I just knew I had to get away. But the thing about pain, it simmers. And then it hardens into resolve. I spent the first 3 days in shock. Oksana did her best to help, offering warm meals, fresh towels, even some of her clothes. But I couldn't stop thinking about what they'd done. My sister. My husband. In my home. My son noticed something was wrong. "Where's Papa?" he asked. I couldn't lie. "We're just staying here for a while, baby. Mama needs to figure things out." He nodded like he understood, but he didn't. Not really. That night, I sat on the edge of the bed scrolling through my phone when I saw it. A smiling photo of Nadia and Victor on Instagram. She posted it. Caption: "Sometimes love shows up when you least expect it, Dizzy." I felt physically ill. Her audacity was stunning. She stole my husband, wrecked my life, and posted about it like it was some fairy tale romance? Oh no. This wasn't going to end with me crying on a couch while she played house with the man who swore he'd love me forever. If they wanted war, fine. But they had no idea who they were messing with. The next morning, I made a list. First, find a job. Second, find a lawyer. Third, find out exactly what I was entitled to and make sure they lost every piece of it. Before I met Victor, I ran the marketing department at a mid-sized cosmetics firm. When I got pregnant, I took a step back to raise Maxim. Victor insisted he could handle the finances, that I didn't need to work anymore. Right. Now I had no income, no home, and barely any savings. But I had one asset left: my brain. And I was done letting people think I was some fragile little housewife. I reached out to my old boss, Larissa. "Alina," she sounded surprised. "Is everything okay?" "Not really. But I'm looking for work. And I thought of you." She paused. "We're actually expanding the team. Come in Monday." It wasn't much. A junior role, far beneath my experience level. But I didn't care. It was a step. Next, the lawyer. A friend referred me to a woman named Helena. Sharp. Cold-eyed. Exactly the kind of person I needed on my side. "Were you legally married?" she asked. "No. We were civil partners. Lived together for 5 years. Had a child." She nodded. "Then you may still have a claim, especially if there's shared property or debt. Do you know what's under his name?" I did. Too much. The house was in Victor's name, but I had proof I contributed financially. I'd paid for the renovations, the new kitchen, even Maxim's tuition fees. But the real goldmine? The company. Victor co-founded a construction firm 3 years ago. What he didn't know was he used some of my money as seed funding. I had the bank records to prove it. "He never paid me back," I told Helena. She smiled. Perfect. That night, while Maxim slept beside me, I wrote out everything. Every date. Every payment. Every message. I made copies of bank statements, screenshots, emails. I built a case. Revenge, as it turns out, is meticulous work. By Friday, I had 2 jobs lined up, one part-time position with Larissa and another freelance gig I could do from home. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. And then came the call I didn't expect. "Hi," Nadia said. Her voice was sickly sweet. "How's Maxim?" I could hear Victor in the background laughing. "He's fine," I said. "Is there something you need?" "We just wanted to check in. You know, if you're okay." "Oh, I'm thriving," I said flatly. "Thanks for your concern." Silence. "Then listen, we'd like to see Maxim. He misses his father." I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. "Tell his father to go through my lawyer." She hesitated. "Are you seriously getting lawyers involved?" "I'm not getting them involved," I said. "They already are." I hung up. Let them sweat. Let them realize I wasn't just a heartbroken woman hiding in a friend's spare room. I was a mother. A businesswoman. And soon, I'd be their worst nightmare. But it wasn't about rage anymore. It was about justice. About showing my son that when people betray you, you don't crumble. You rebuild. Stronger. Smarter. Sharper. And I was just getting started. My lawyer, Helena, worked fast. Within a week, she filed a claim demanding child support, reimbursement of the investment I made into Victor's business, and temporary custody of Maxim. She also submitted a formal request for a financial audit of the company, something that sent shockwaves straight into Victor's smug little kingdom. And guess what? He finally called me. "Alina," he said. "Can we talk?" "Talk to my lawyer," I answered, calm and cold. "I just think we're being a bit dramatic. This doesn't have to get ugly." "Oh, Victor," I smiled, "I'm just getting started." Click. I wasn't interested in his guilt or explanations. If he really cared, he wouldn't have cheated on me with my own sister. My own blood. But I wasn't blind either. I knew I couldn't stay with Oksana forever. Her apartment was small. She was helping the best she could, but I had to move forward for my son and for myself. So I found a studio apartment. It was tiny, old, and the paint peeled off in places, but it was mine. I borrowed a secondhand mattress, got a cheap table, a couple chairs, and hung up drawings Maxim made on the fridge. It wasn't home yet, but it was a beginning. Each day was a battle. I worked 2 jobs, juggled calls with lawyers, cooked dinners, and helped Maxim with his homework. He was my anchor. His small hands wrapping around mine every night gave me strength I didn't know I had. But what I didn't expect was my mother. She showed up one afternoon, completely unannounced. She hadn't called once since everything happened. "Alina," she said, stepping into my cramped hallway, "this is where you're living now?" I crossed my arms. "Yes. What do you want?" Her eyes scanned the room, judgment written all over her face. "You should have stayed with Victor. At least for the child." I stared at her, stunned. "You knew what he did. With Nadia. And you still think I should have stayed?" She sat down, not even asking. "Marriage isn't perfect. You make sacrifices. Men cheat. You forgive." "No," I said firmly. "You forgave." "I won't." A long pause. "He's Maxim's father." "I never said he wasn't. He can be a father without being my husband." She sighed. "And Nadia?" I looked her in the eyes. "Is dead to me. Family isn't something you throw away, Alina." I clenched my fists. I didn't throw anyone away. They threw me away. She didn't understand. Maybe she never would. My mother came from a generation that swallowed betrayal like bitter tea and called it tradition. I refused. That night I cried. Not because of Victor, but because I realized I was truly alone. Or so I thought. The next morning, I received an email from Helena. Subject: urgent. You're not going to believe this body. Check attachment. We got him. I opened the PDF. Turns out, Victor's company had been engaging in some creative accounting. Several expenses were traced back to personal items, luxury vacations, designer clothes, a $6,000 watch. With my money. Helena's email continued. "We can subpoena the financial records. If we push, this could turn into a criminal investigation. He'll settle. Trust me." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He thought I was weak. He thought I'd walk away with nothing. But now, the man who betrayed me was about to lose everything. Later that day, I got another message from Nadia. "We need to talk. Please." I didn't mean for this to happen. I stared at the screen, rage boiling under my skin. Didn't mean for this to happen? You don't accidentally sleep with your sister's husband. I ignored it. But she kept calling. And texting. Finally, she sent a voice message. I didn't want to open it, but curiosity got the better of me. Her voice cracked. "Alina, I'm sorry. I didn't think he'd leave you. I thought it was just a stupid mistake. But now he's turning on me too. I think he's seeing someone else." My jaw clenched. She expected sympathy? After stabbing me in the back? No. Let her feel alone. Let her sit in the very emptiness she helped create. But part of me felt something else too. Satisfaction. She thought she was special. That stealing Victor would give her a better life. Now she was just another ex. And I was rising. In the weeks that followed, Victor's lawyer reached out with a settlement offer. It was laughable. A few thousand for emotional distress and a payment plan for the investment. I rejected it immediately. I wanted more than money. I wanted to take the company. I wanted to ruin the image of the perfect man he built. I wanted him to know what it felt like to lose everything he valued. And then, something unexpected happened. I got an offer from a former colleague. A director-level position at a growing tech startup. Better pay. More flexibility. He said, "We've been watching your comeback. You're a fighter. We want that." I smiled. Send the contract. For the first time in months, I felt powerful again. I wasn't just surviving, I was winning. And the best part? Victor had no idea what was coming next. My new job changed everything. I walked into that modern office, head held high, no longer the shattered wife everyone whispered about. I was Alina, the woman who rose from betrayal and built something of her own. The first few days were overwhelming, but in the best way. I was challenged, respected, and surrounded by people who valued my brain, not my backstory. Maxim adjusted too. He started smiling again, talking about school projects and drawing superheroes with justice powers. His therapist said he was healing. We both were. Meanwhile, Helena pressed forward. Victor was stalling. His lawyer tried to delay the court hearing, claiming logistical issues. But the judge wasn't amused. A new date was set, and this time, it was final. Just 2 weeks away. That's when Nadia showed up at my doorstep. Yes, unannounced. I opened the door and nearly slammed it shut again. She looked terrible. Her makeup was smudged, her once pristine nails chipped. But it was her eyes that stopped me. Red, hollow, desperate. "Please," she whispered, "just 5 minutes." I said nothing, just turned and walked back inside. Surprisingly, she followed. We sat. Silence stretched like a blade between us. Then she said the thing I never expected. "I want to testify for you." I blinked. What? I know what Victor did. The fake expenses, the asset hiding. I helped him move some of the money. I didn't know what it was for at the time, but I can prove it. I narrowed my eyes. Why no? Her lips trembled. Because he's doing to me what he did to you. There's another woman. I found texts. Hotel bookings. He moved out yesterday. I stared at her. And you thought I'd help you because you're a victim now? No. She shook her head. I don't want anything. I can't live with myself unless I do something right. Even once. I didn't respond. Not then. I sent her statement to Helena, who immediately requested it as evidence. It was risky but powerful. A signed affidavit from the woman Victor cheated with confirming financial misconduct? The court would take it seriously. But I still didn't trust her. That night, Victor called again. This time I answered. "You think bringing her into this helps you?" he snapped. I didn't bring her. She came all on her own. "You're destroying everything we built." "No," I said coldly. "You destroyed it. I'm just cleaning up the mess." He laughed bitterly. "You think you're strong now, Alina? You think you'll win?" I paused. "I already have." Click. The days flew by. The court hearing loomed like a storm cloud, but I felt ready. Until the day before. I received a letter, hand-delivered, no return address. Inside was a photo. Blurry but clear enough. It was me. At work. Laughing. Talking to a male colleague. His hand resting lightly on my back. On the back was a note in sloppy handwriting. "Maybe Maxim needs to know who Mommy really is." I froze. My skin went cold. This wasn't just petty revenge. This was dangerous. Victor was threatening me through my son. I called Helena. She told me to stay calm, document everything, and bring the photo to court. "Don't worry," she said. "Judges hate intimidation tactics." But I wasn't worried about court anymore. I was worried about what Victor might do next. That night, Maxim crawled into my bed after a nightmare. "Are the bad guys gone yet?" he whispered. I wrapped my arms around him. "Almost," I said. He fell asleep in minutes. I didn't sleep at all. The next morning, I wore black. Not because I was mourning, but because I was ready for war. The courtroom buzzed with tension. Victor looked smug, dressed in a tailored suit, flanked by his new lawyer. But his eyes flicked toward the judge nervously when Helena walked in with a folder full of evidence. The proceedings began. And then Helena dropped the bomb. Nadia's affidavit, financial records, surveillance timestamps, all pointing to Victor's misuse of company funds and personal assets. His lawyer objected. The judge overruled. Then the judge turned to Victor and said something that made my spine tingle. Mr. Shevchenko, we will be reviewing this for potential fraud. If these documents are valid, you may be facing criminal charges. I watched Victor pale. For once, he had nothing to say. And then I was asked to speak. I stood. My voice didn't tremble. I gave everything to this man. My time, my money, my trust. And when he cheated on me, he didn't just break my heart. He tried to take away my future and my child's. Silence. And I'm here today, not to beg for scraps, but to demand what's mine. The judge nodded slowly. We will reconvene next week with a final ruling. In the meantime, Mr. Shevchenko is ordered to cease all direct contact with the plaintiff and her child. Boom. Victory wasn't official yet, but I had him on the ropes. As I walked out of the courtroom, Helena leaned over. One more week, she whispered. Then he's done. And for the first time since that terrible day I found out the truth. I finally believed her. The week before the final hearing was pure chaos. Victor wasn't taking defeat quietly. He sent his lawyer to file a counterclaim, accusing me of emotional instability and being an unfit mother. He even listed that photo, the one of me and my colleague, as supposed proof of my inappropriate conduct around our child. Helena laughed out loud in her office when she read it. Let him dig his own grave, she said. We'll bury him in court. But I wasn't laughing. Because I knew Victor. He wasn't the kind of man to just lose and walk away. So I started watching over my shoulder. I made sure Maxim was never left alone. I even installed a camera outside our apartment. Maybe it was paranoia. Maybe it was survival. Then something else happened. My boss called me into his office. Alina, he said, folding his hands on the desk, this is awkward. I've received an anonymous email with, let's say, concerning allegations about your personal life. I froze. He turned his monitor to face me. There it was. A screenshot of the court documents. A photo of me crying outside the courthouse. And a message. Do you really want someone like this representing your company? I felt like vomiting. I'm so sorry, I whispered. My boss raised a hand. Don't apologize. We've all read the news. He's trying to ruin you. But we're not fools. He smiled. You're one of our best performers. We're behind you. I could have cried. But I didn't. Not there. That night, I tucked Maxim into bed and sat in the living room in the dark. I didn't feel brave. I didn't feel strong. I felt like I was clinging to the edge of a cliff with my fingernails bleeding. And then I got a text. Unknown number. Tick-tock. Final round, sweetheart. I dropped the phone. That was it. I called the police. I handed over every message, every photo, every threat. They opened a file. Said they'd look into it. But I knew better. If I wanted justice, I'd have to take it myself. The night before the final hearing, Maxim got sick. Fever, shivers, tears. I stayed up all night holding him. I thought about canceling the hearing. But Helena told me, no. This is the moment he's hoping you'll back out. So I left Maxim with my neighbor, kissed his sweaty forehead, and went to court on zero sleep. It was time. The room was packed. Journalists. Colleagues. Even Nadia, sitting in the back, eyes downcast. Victor looked confident. Too confident. He had no idea what was coming. The judge entered. Everyone rose. And then Helena stood. She opened a folder. Your Honor, before we proceed with closing arguments, the plaintiff would like to submit new evidence. The courtroom murmured. She handed the bailiff a USB stick. The judge inserted it. A video began to play on the screen. Security footage. From Victor's office. From 2 weeks ago. It showed him yelling at Nadia. Grabbing her wrist. Throwing a file across the room. Say a word and you'll regret it. His voice barked on the recording. Gasps. Victor's lawyer stood up. Objection. The judge silenced him with a glare. I'd like to hear more, she said. Next clip. Victor alone, talking on the phone. Yeah, I know it's illegal. But she's not going to win. I'll bury her before she gets a dime. Dead silence. The judge turned to Victor. Mr. Shevchenko, would you care to explain this? Victor's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. Nothing came out. For once, his lies had run dry. The judge slammed the gavel. Based on this evidence, I am issuing an immediate injunction against Mr. Shevchenko. He is to be removed from all decision-making positions in the shared company. Furthermore, the court recognizes the plaintiff's claims to marital assets as valid. A full 50% share will be granted to Ms. Alina Shevchenko, effective immediately. I couldn't breathe. I'd won. I had won everything. But then, Victor lunged. Toward me. Toward Helena. Security tackled him instantly, but not before he screamed something that sent chills down my spine. You'll pay for this. Both of you. He was dragged out of the courtroom in handcuffs. And I just sat there, shaking. I wasn't afraid anymore. I was free. But I was also exhausted. Helena hugged me tightly. It's over, she said softly. No, I whispered. It's just beginning. Because now I had power. Now I had control. And I wasn't going to waste it. I didn't celebrate right away. After the trial, after Victor was dragged out screaming like a madman, all I felt was numbness. I walked out of the courthouse alone. No champagne, no fireworks. Just a cold wind and the hum of the city, as if the world didn't even notice that I'd just survived a war. But the moment I stepped into my apartment and saw Maxim asleep on the couch, cheeks flushed, a toy car clutched in his small hand, I finally exhaled. That was my real victory. Not the money. Not the company shares. Him. My son. Safe. With me. The next day, headlines exploded. Top Kyiv businessman removed after court scandal. Alina Shevchenko wins landmark civil union property case. He tried to destroy me. Woman speaks out after abuse, threats, betrayal. I didn't read the articles. I didn't need to, because I already knew the truth. Instead, I turned inward. I sold my half of the company to an outside investor. Helena handled everything, every document, every call. I didn't want to see Victor's name again. The money I received? I used part of it to pay off debts, part to start something new. Something mine. A small creative agency run by women, for women. I hired single moms. Abuse survivors. Talented young designers that no one would give a second chance. We weren't just building brands. We were building each other. I called it Phoenix. Because that's what we were doing. Rising from ashes. 1 year passed. Victor tried to appeal the court's decision. Twice. He lost both times. Turns out, when you threaten people on camera and commit fraud, judges tend not to like you very much. Nadia left him. She got a new job in another city. I don't know where. I hope she's safe. Sometimes I think about calling her. But then I realize we both need space to heal. Maxim started first grade. He loves science and pancakes and superheroes. Sometimes he asks where his papa went. I tell him he's not someone we talk about anymore. He shrugs and keeps drawing planets. One afternoon, I was picking him up from school when I saw a woman I didn't recognize. She approached me with a nervous smile. You're Alina. Yes. I just wanted to say thank you, she said, holding back tears. I read about your case. And I finally found the courage to leave my Victor. She hugged me. A complete stranger. And in that moment, I realized something. My story wasn't just mine anymore. It was a spark. And I hoped it would set fire to every cage that women like me had been trapped in for years. I won't lie. There are still nights I wake up from nightmares. There are still scars, invisible ones, that sting when I least expect it. But now I have tools. I have purpose. I have peace. And if you're reading this, if someone hurt you, used you, lied to you, know this. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are becoming. And when the world tries to burn you down, you rise. Like fire. Like fury. Like a phoenix.